What is up, everyone? It is Diecastbuffet here again. Today we have a very special diecast in the studio. One that I've never reviewed before. It's one of these action racing collectibles, total concept 164 cars. There is detail to it like you've never seen before. It is a real work of art. And it's crazy to think that this diecast right here, guys, had 23,000 of this produced in 2001. To put that in perspective, most 164s nowadays, diecasts like this or this, only get maybe 2,500 to 3,000 made. Anyways, we're going to be doing a diecast review. We're going to take a look at the packaging and everything. But yeah, this one's, it's used because you can see a little bit of, some grime and stuff. Again, it's a 23-year-old car, but regardless, I can't wait to check this out, man. Let's go and hop to it. All right, folks, so got it off the base. I love the packaging work for this. This is so cool. So this is a reclosable clamshell. We'll open this thing up and do all the glitz and glamour, but I don't think people really understand how amazing the 2000s quality diecasts really were. And this is a great example of it. So this was called the Total Concept line. They had a bunch of different lines back in those years. The club cars, the RCCA Elites. There's some other ones as well. But, I mean, look at that. 23,000. I cannot even imagine how, like my brain cannot even wrap around it. There probably was 2 or 3 pallets of this stuff coming off the boat of just this diecast alone. That's asinine if you know how large shipping pallets are. So, you got the very cool looking, kind of a rustic, kind of a weathered look. This is actually how it's supposed to be. It's printed. Like you can see the white right here. There's a little bit of like, I wouldn't say stains, but maybe a little bit of dirt. It's supposed to look like a shipping box. You know, the back ends of shipping trucks, they're kind of dusty, kind of dirty. So I like that texture to it. There is some scuffs. This was definitely a used car, but you can tell this is printed details. You got Action 164 stock car, Total Concept, limited edition, adult collectible. Got the signature there. You have your stock image. Now, this is probably a car you would see at the 2001 Daytona 500, maybe even before then, because this was a new sponsor for Dale Jarrett, and the back of the card right here says year 2000. So I could definitely see this being at a Speed Weeks in 2001. New sponsor, sports at an all-time high. They're going to have it early, I'd imagine. And what's really cool, and this is something Greenlight Collectibles does with their IndyCar diecast, or at least they did, is you have this card that is separated from the rest of the clamshell. So you can see it, the card, both sides of it, with the car in front, and it's separated from this piece. Oh, by the way, the Winter Circle line does this now as well. So looking at the back end of the card piece, I don't know what this says here. I imagine this is probably a barcode that's printed there, and the vendor or wherever this came from. Again, I have no idea what the history of this car is. They probably just stuck one on there, and then this is the back of the Dale Jarrett manufacturer tag there. Got all that there, and you have your action card. Very, very cool stuff. So I'm going to show you how this opens up. We're not going to try to cut too much of this video, but we're going to open it up. Very similar packaging, by the way, to the Winter Circle line nowadays. I mean, it's actually very similar. And as you can see, we're going to set the card to the side carefully, but I also want to show some detail about the card piece here. Actually, I don't even know if it pops out. Yeah, it does. I don't want to damage it, but it's very similar to the Winter Circle line ones, where it's just a little sleeve. And you can tell how much time has passed as the back end of this sticker has pretty well weathered. Or not want to say weathered, but the adhesion. And this is what it was covering up. You can see it now. Dale Jarrett. And yeah, very, very cool stuff, guys. I like this. So let's take a quick little look at the card here. It is bent. Again, they made 23,000 of these. I can't even try to describe how many that is. So you're going to have some of them floating around that are used. You got Dale Jarrett. What an awesome image, by the way. You got NASCAR Winston Cup Series. You have the little whoosh right there, the signature UPS Racing. Why can't they do this nowadays? Like, literally, just find a random stock image of the driver, just have a generic design, put the team logo, put the driver's signature and sponsor, and be done with it. Oh, by the way, the background has a little shipping package thing. It's just so freaking cool, man. On the back end of it, you have kind of an action advertisement for their website. Total Concept collection card. They made a ton of these different Total Concept ones. They are very, very neat. And then you have the little plastic inserts. If I could find the other one, oh yeah, it's hidden underneath this. So there's a lot of different paint schemes that got made in this line, but let's check out this diecast now. All right, folks, so got it out of the package. This is a Total Concept car. So you know what that means. Da, 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 da. Yeah. Yep, it's like that guy from Storage Wars. Yeah. I'm kidding. If you know where that's from, you're an OG. I'm telling you, man, the 2000s was absolute peak for diecast production. And it's crazy to think that these are never being made again. All these 2000s cars that we all grew up with, it's just kind of crazy to think that what got made is what got made, you know? And yes, there's an absolute metric biff ton of them that got made and floating around, but at some point, these things will probably, you know, they'll start getting rarer and harder to find as the years and years go on, at least in good condition. So it's kind of crazy to think. So this is like a perfect, and I mean absolutely perfect car to get if you're doing like a diecast custom for damage, you know, builds and whatnot, or even a diorama. Why? Because you could literally take probably any Ford Taurus car and it would probably fit over this. And now I've built the Ford Tauruses for the Gen, or they're obviously the Gen 4, but the Action Ford Tauruses. And looking at the diecast mold itself, I think the Winter Circle line would actually fit over this. I'm not saying it's a perfect fit, but you could probably get it to sit on top of it. So you could take like a random, you know, Winter Circle diecast from 2001 or 2002, drill it out, and then you could probably just set it on top of this car body, and it would probably sit there. Now, the detail we see here is just absolutely insane. I mean, it's insane. You have the engine block right there, which is painted with like a chrome paint. You have the radiator there. You have your like cross member bars. Oh my goodness, man. You even have, what is that, is that the water pump, or is that the, yeah, that's a water pump, I think there, or like the insert where you pour like cooling fluids or something like that. They change vehicles so much, I forget where everything goes. They even painted the dashboard. I feel like I'm looking at a 124 scale diecast, but I'm not. I'm looking at a 164. And again, they made 23,000 of this one car. If that's not enough, guess how many Kevin Harvick 2002 cars they made in this line? I think it was the Total Concept line, or it was just an Elite line. Guess how many? You got a number? Okay, I'm going to reveal it. So take a guess, and I'll tell you if you're right, or you'll tell me. Either or. 60,000 of Kevin Harvick's 2002 primary got made in this packaging. 60,000. I'm telling you, the numbers of production back then were just absolutely from Mars. And as I mentioned before, the current day products get made about 2,500 to 3,000 per line. That's not including promos, which could only be a couple hundred. But that's what I'm trying to say. That's how crazy the diecast industry has changed. Now, I'm looking at this and I'm studying it. And the bottom of it is plated with metal. This is actual die-cast metal, this bottom piece. This top part is plastic that probably glued or melted to it, which is, you know, it's nice. I like that. The structure of it is very, very cool. The painted roll bars, you got your shifter in there. Looks like a fire extinguisher or something. Even the gas tank. This is something I love doing. I love painting the gas tank red, but underneath the car, it's never red, right? But I always like a red gas tank. I don't know why. It looks cool. You get the hoses and everything. The dashboard paint. I mean, I'm telling you, these cars are incredible. And I believe the wheels, yeah, the rubber, I don't know if you can see that or not, but the rubber actually comes off the tires as well, I think. So you could literally use this as a shop diorama piece and just put your shell on there. Or you could make it a damaged custom. Like you could make this a wrecked car and you could thin the metal. And oh, by the way, bop, yep, the hood comes up. The freaking hood comes up. So that gives you even more structure to kind of toil around with and damage. And the thing is, this is not even the most advanced line. They made more advanced ones that had functioning trunks that open. This one doesn't. It's a closed cast there. But they've made more advanced versions of this car. I know I'm kind of all over the place with this diecast review, but I'm geeked up for this, guys. I freaking love these Gen 4s. So looking at the hood here, as someone who has built customs, you really want to pay attention to how they do the hood structure. And from what I'm seeing here, there's a plastic ring that is attached to the window, the front windshield, that the hood actually saddles in and kind of holds it in place. That is really cool because this is usually a piece that rattles and comes apart and then it starts paint chipping. So that's actually really good structure. The rear of the car here has even a plastic part that's usually attached to the back end of the cockpit with these Gen 4 cars. But no, it's actually attached to the body. And there's even a metal plate to go underneath it. I've never seen that before, a metal plate that's put there. This is coming from someone who has built so many Gen 4 custom diecast, and it pays attention and studies these metal, the way the metal works and the way the plastic molds are. Fascinating construction here. And both pieces are separated too. Sometimes the Gen 4s, they have one single plastic part, but no, these are both these are both separated with a rivet there. That's fascinating as well. Very, very cool stuff. So the dashboard is completely installed to the actual car itself. And heck, you might be able to actually take the wheels if you really wanted to. You could probably find a way to take the wheels off, usually by popping one of the wheels off, like the actual rim. And you could probably take a winter circle one, the wheels from that, put it on a custom axle, because they have like custom Hot Wheels axles, and you could put the plastic wheels on this if you wanted. Again, just throwing out ideas. So what I'm trying to say is they made 23,000 of this, guys. You could customize it to the cows come home. You could probably buy 20 of them, and it would not put a dent in the overall production of them floating around. It's not going to just dry up and be lost to time. Now let's kind of go to more of our traditional diecast review. Now I've really studied this car and really looked at it. So one of my, I guess you could say, pet peeves that I have with diecast is white paint on cars. Why? Because they yellow, and when they yellow, they look funky to me. I'm looking at the paint here, and I gotta be honest with you, I don't really see yellowing. Maybe I'm tripping, but it looks more like a cream color instead of a yellowed snow white color. So I think the paint is actually held up pretty well. And judging by how many scratch marks this piece has, you can really see with the light. There's a lot of scratches. This was probably not stored in the best of places. So I'm actually pretty impressed with that. So you got over here in the front, you got Taurus, Robert Yates Racing, Moog, Clevite, Simpson, Edelbrock, Plastalock, Union 76. You got 88 right there. You have very, very sharp detail in the front. Now, the front structure to these Ford Tauruses in the Action Winter Circle line is much more like a plate car. There's a taller front valence. It's more structured and rigid. If you're looking for more of a speedway car, like 1.5 mile or short track, check out the Hot Wheels ones. They're definitely more realistic to that. The front ends are, at least in my opinion. So the left side of the diecast here. Now, I don't know how much of this is inaccurate. Why? Because this appears to be a very early release from my understanding, due to the year 2000 on the card. If I can grab this, it says year 2000, the bottom left right there. Now that can mean nothing, and this got released midway through 2001, but knowing what I know about the diecast industry at that time, this was more likely than not a very early release, considering all the hype around UPS coming in the sport with Dale Jarrett. Dale Jarrett was a massive name back then. Like, I'm not even kidding. Got 88 right there. Ford Credit. Got Texaco, Fleetwood RV, UPS, Dale Jarrett signature, Coca-Cola. Whatever that is, Ford Racing UPS. Look at the contingencies on this car, my brother. I want to zoom in here and just take a look at that. Over here to the rear of the diecast, you have www.ups.com with the yellow 88 right there. Very cool. Kind of reminds me of his Kansas paint scheme, which was one of the most popular cars of 2001. The Flames car that inevitably, I think, wrecked in that inaugural Kansas race. Got Rubber Gates Racing there. Go to the right side of the diecast. And let me tell you, brother, these 2000s cars, it's a blessing and a curse. And here's why. It's a blessing because they made literally hundreds of thousands more than they probably should have, right? The sport, it was justified at the time because of how popular the sport was and how many people were buying diecasts. But it's also kind of a curse because a lot of people anticipated that these cars were going to be, worth keeping and they were going to grow with value over time. The reality is, with them being so overproduced that there's just too many on the market. There's not enough people wanting them to justify the market value. Now, I'm not saying 40 years from now, these things won't be, but right now they're not. And that's kind of a blessing as well, because if you want something like this that you could buy and literally turn into a custom or tear it up and make it a raced version or something, you could do so, and congratulations, there's probably 15,000 more of these floating around. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even a scratch. These things are going to probably be around till I'm gone off the planet. Put it that way. That's how many of these things got made. Got UPS right there on the deck lid. So I brought in another diecast in the studio because I wanted to talk about the diecast mold specifically. This is a 2001 Ricky Rudd Winter Circle diecast. We did a diecast review on it. I wanted to talk about the diecast molds and if there's anything that is different about it, and do I think these molds would fit on the Total Concept chassis. Now, what I'm seeing here is that the diecast underbody is very, very similar. Like, the tooling is very similar here. Also, I love the detail on the bottom of the car as well. That looks really good. But it's very, very close. The front end metal is thinner on the Total Concept car, but it's thicker on the Winter Circle one. But I'm looking at the fender well, specifically right here on that left front. Notice how thick it is on the Total Concept car, how thick the fender well is, and how thin it is on the Winter Circle diecast. Now, this is probably because there's going to be a lot of, I would say stress. It might not be the right word, but there's going to be a lot of movement here. So with this all being one solid piece, they can afford to make the sides thinner and it won't crack or chip or break. But with them having a opening hood and closing it, they have to make the fender well areas thicker for the metal to hold up, because, these things have to be shipped off a boat, and then they put it in people's collections and all that kind of stuff. So they really need these things to be structurally sound. But what I'm trying to get at is I do think the Winter Circle body would probably fit on the Total Concept. I don't have one that's already drilled out that I could compare to, but from what I see, I think this would probably fit the shell. So if you wanted to do like a shop diorama scene and maybe you had a diecast paint scheme that never got made in the Total Concept line or RCCA Elite, I think these might fit on there. I'm not sure. And in fact, you know what? I'm going to grab a Gen 4 body and we're just going to experiment. All right, so this is going to be apples to oranges, but we're going to test something here, guys. So I got a 2006-2007 Monte Carlo. I painted this one black, and we're just going to see, just for, comparison, where do these kind of rank with a Winter Circle body? Now, again, this is designed to roll, and it's completely different. So I didn't think about this, but the notches right here at the top, you would probably have to remove, which it's actually really easy to do. But if you were to remove that, from what I'm seeing, this would fit probably pretty well on a 2002 Taurus, because if it's the structure of the car is already fitting this much on a 06-07 Monte Carlo, if these front fender things weren't there, because the wheels are housed within the interior portion of the car, this would probably fit with that modification. So that's actually really cool. And if you wanted to customize it, you know, and change it up and do whatever you want, it gives you that option. And I think that's really important. This is a really cool piece, though. I wanted to take a little bit longer in this diecast review because, look, I'm passionate about this stuff. I love talking about it. I love just going into detail with these diecast reviews. So I just want to have a little fun with this diecast review and talk about it. So, absolutely, guys. Thank you all so much for watching the video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you want to pick up any. They have a bunch of 124 diecasts over there at Circle B, a lot of the older stuff. Go over there to their previously owned collection. A lot of great 2000s merch over there, or heck, even in the new merchandise stuff. Make sure you use promo code Diecastbuffet, and you get $6 off any orders $30 or more. So, thank you all so much for watching the video. Hope you're having a blessed one. I freaking love these total concept cars. These things are so cool. And the packaging. I mean, to be honest with you, dude, I would probably like to just buy a winner circle version of this car and just use this as the packaging to store it in. Like, that's how much I love the card back design. Resealable, keeps the dust off of it, and you got this epic collectible card. I think these things are amazing, guys. So that's all for now. Diecastbuffet, signing off.